A very good morning to all the students of class 12th political science and students. Welcome back to the online classes. As you have now finished up with your first pre-board exams, now we shall be moving forward with our syllabus as 1.5 chapter of our syllabus is still left. And before your exams, we were doing the chapter that is the crisis of democratic order. And I told you that according to the new revised syllabus, the name of this chapter has been updated and the new name is Democratic Resurgence. Okay, I had written there Democratic Resurgence. So I had also told you the meaning of this word democratic, you know it very well, and resurgence means to reestablish or recreate, and we can also say to reform already existing political phenomena. So there was already a existing political phenomena which we called as democratic system of India, or we followed democracy in India. So now in this chapter we will study about what was a need and requirement to reestablish, recreate or reform this already existing political phenomena. So to understand that, we shall be mostly discussing in this chapter about the national emergency of 1975. So this period and this emergency, this is the one of the most important political system which we study. When we study about Indian political system, we always study about this emergency period of 1975 in detail. We were covering this, we had already covered this topic almost, we had also seen the consequences, and today we would move forward. But apart from this national emergency, 2 3 4 new topics have been added to this chapter of democratic resurgence, and those 4 topics I had already explained to you. That is Jayaprakash Narayan and his total revolution. One each lecture I have taken on this particular topics. Then we had done another topic, Ram Manohar Lohia and his socialism. In detail I have already given you notes also. Then third important topic is Deen Dayal Upadhyay and integral humanism. And fourth topic which we have to cover, I have not covered till now. After completing this part of this chapter, whatever is left, I will be doing the last topic, that is democratic upsurges. So I had done all this topic before your term exams. Now we will move forward with this chapter. Just to remind you, you can see here we had started this chapter, and before in the beginning we had started with Jayaprakash Narayan and total revolution. Then we had taken Ram Manohar Lohia and socialism, then Deen Dayal Upadhyay and integral humanism. After completing these 3 important topics, I had taken the chapter from your book, NCERT book, and we studied regarding period of emergency, imposition of emergency in 1975. So we have seen that, we have understood all the important factors which are important. I am just telling you the factors also which we have done. In a way to understand the period of emergency, first of all we started with the background to emergency. What was the background which led to the emergency? What were those factors which led to the imposition of emergency of 1975, in which we studied economic context, the economic conditions of our country, okay, internal economic problems. Then we had seen this is the most important, Gujarat and Bihar movements. We had separately, we had seen both Gujarat and Bihar movements. We had discussed what were the things and events happening under these movements which led to the imposition of emergency. So these are one of the important factors, I would say. A single factor is not sufficient to impose emergency or a national emergency. Then we have studied about Naxalite movement in a video. Later on we had seen conflicts with judiciary. Okay, so what were the problems which led to the problems with judiciary? Then finally we had discussed declaration of emergency. So all the factors which we were studying and discussing, because of those factors we tried to understand why the emergency was declared finally on 1975. So we had seen the whole thing, and what were the crisis and response of this emergency, we had discussed that. And finally, just before your exams, I had discussed with you, this is an important topic, consequences of emergency, and there were so many consequences when we talk about emergency. So today the topic for our discussion of this chapter would be controversies regarding emergencies. So there are certain controversies regarding emergencies. So here, talking in relation to the controversies regarding emergency, Emergency is one of the most controversial episode in the Indian politics. So when we talk about the Indian politics, this period of emergency of 1975, it is one of the most controversial, and we also call it a black spot or a blot on the Indian politics. So this is one of the most crucial episode which we have to study and which we have been studying. We have seen the important factors, declaration of emergency. We have also seen its consequences. Now we are seeing some controversies here. One reason is that there are different viewpoints about the need to declare emergency. So the reasons, there has been various opinions that is there was a need to declare emergency, or was it correct, right, or it was wrong to declare emergency. Another reason is that using the powers given by the constitution, the government practically suspended the democratic functioning. As we know, the constitution has given certain important powers to the government to function according to the democratic method, but this government in 1975, that is Indira Gandhi government, suspended the democratic functioning. As our country is based on the democratic method, we have adopted democracy as the functioning of our country, but here the government had practically suspended this democratic functioning of our country. So there was a misuse or a misuse of power which has been given to government by the constitution. So this was the issue here. So as the investigations by the Shah Commission, so this was the commission which was appointed by the Janata Party after 1977 to look into the matter of emergency and look into the that how the government has misused its power. That is why there were various investigations and reports submitted by Shah Commission after emergency found out there were many excess committed. There were many excess committed by the government during the emergency. To find this, there was a recommendation of this Shah Commission. Finally, there are varying assessments of what the lessons of emergency. So we'll also see certain assessments that what are the lessons of emergency, what are the things we learned from this episode of emergency, which we should follow in future to have a democracy in India. Let us look at these one by one. So these are some of the controversies which we see during the episode of emergency, and we'll see these issues one by one. And the first one which is there for you is, was the emergency necessary? So this is one of the controversies put forward by the people, and that was the emergency required or was it so necessary? What were the reasons? So we'll begin with that. The constitution simply mentioned internal disturbances as a reason for declaring emergency. So as we know, the reason which was given for declaring emergency in 1975 was internal disturbance within our country. But before 1975, if you see, before 1975, emergency was never proclaimed on this ground. So in our country, never there was any emergency based on the internal disturbance. We have noted that agitations were going on in many parts of the country. Was this reason enough for declaring emergency? If there was agitation, protest, unrest in our country, within our country, people were protesting, but this is the way of democratic government, where people have the rights, and they have the rights and freedom, fundamental rights. They can protest and they can raise their voice, they can show their consent regarding any decision of the government. So was this the reason enough or sufficient to declare the emergency? This is a question put forward to you. Was this reason enough to declare emergency? The government argued that in a democracy, so the government argues in support of this, the government argues that in a democracy, the opposition party must allow the elected ruling party to govern according to its policies. So basically here, the government was saying that opposition party were interfering a lot in the development policies or the functioning policies of the government. So because of which there were a lot of internal disturbance, and government was unable to function properly. It felt that frequent recourse of agitation, protest and collective actions are not good for democracy. It means, from understanding this from the statement of the government, we understand that it is felt frequent recourse of agitation. If there will be agitation, protest, demonstration, protest or collective where people come together against a particular situation or policy, it means it is not healthy and good for democracy. So this is also a question. Supporters of Indira Gandhi. So there was few supporters of Indira Gandhi. also held that in a democracy you cannot continuously have extra parliamentary politics targeting the government. So the supporters of Indira Gandhi said, okay, in a democracy everyone has the right to raise their voice and show their consent and express what they want. They can stand against any policy if they feel that that policy is not according to the constitution or it is harming some section of the society. But if everyone is targeting the government, it will not lead to any good of the country. This leads to instability and distrust. So the supporters of Indira Gandhi says if we will always be anti-government, targeting our government, this will lead to instability and distract the administration from its routine task of ensuring development. The government will not be able to focus on the policies of development. Apart from it, it will only focus on the things like emergency. All energies are diverted, all the energies and efforts of the government are diverted to maintenance of law and order. It means government will always be busy with law, maintaining law and order. So here we are seeing two sides of this situation, this episode, where few people are in support of emergency and some are critics of emergency. So both are them are showing their viewpoints for imposition of this emergency. Yes, this is also important. There can be a question from this topic also. Shah Commission inquiry. You must know about this. As I have told you, after May 1977, the Janata Party government appointed a commission after emergency was over. So this Janata Party government, which had declared this commission of inquiry headed by Justice. The head of the commission was Justice J.C. Shah. He was a retired Chief Justice of Supreme Court. That is why the commission name is Shah Commission. Okay, to inquire into the several aspects of allegations. So they have to inquire and see into the matter that what were the allegations on the government, what was the abuse of the authority, how the government had misused the power and authority, what were the excesses and malpractices committed and actions taken in the wake of emergency. So under the emergency, what were the things committed? Okay. 25th June 1970. So all these were the recommendations of Shah Commission. So you must know about Shah Commission also. So further, Indira Gandhi wrote a letter to Shah Commission when Shah Commission was appointed to look into the matter of this emergency period. So Indira Gandhi wrote to Shah Commission that subversive forces were trying to obstruct the progressive program. That there were a lot of outside forces, opposition parties plus outside forces who were anti-Congress or anti-Indira Gandhi, who wanted to remove her from the power. They always had been the obstacle on the ways of progressive program. Whenever she wanted to drive out various developmental programs, there were various hurdles on her way, okay, or the government, and were attempting to dislodge her from the power, and those powers wanted to remove her from the power through extra constitutional means. So she had written this letter to Shah Commission. Some other parties like CPI, as we know, CPI was a supporter of Congress at this time when we are talking about emergency period. It had a coalition with Congress that continued to back the Congress during the emergency. It always supported this period of emergency, because CPI also believed that there was an international conspiracy against the unity of India, because CPI believed that there is some conspiracy on some plans are going against the unity of India. They wanted to divide India further. It believed that in such circumstances some restrictions on agitations were justified. So they say that through emergency the government had tried to restrict some protests and agitations. Those were justified. So CPI is supporting the period of emergency which was imposed by Indira Gandhi as a PM of the party Congress. So they are justifying this act of Indira Gandhi here. The CPI, here Communist Party of India, felt that agitation led by JP. So this CPI is now targeting, and the agitations led by Jayaprakash Narayan were mainly by the middle classes who were opposed to the radical policies of Congress Party. So he's saying the CPI party is supporting and saying that the protest and revolutions led by JP were basically by the middle class people who were always opposed to the radical policies of Congress Party. So they are saying the people who were protesting with the JP all were anti-Congress. Okay. After the emergency, when the emergency was over, the CPI felt that its assessment was mistaken. But once the emergency was over, during the emergency, CPI was supporting this episode of emergency put forward by the Congress or the Indira Gandhi. But after emergency was over, CPI again saw that its assessment was mistaken and it was an error to have supported the emergency. Now they believe that it was wrong on part of CPI to support this act of emergency. On the other hand, the critics of the emergency, so there are some critics of the emergency who criticize this act of emergency, argued that ever since the freedom movement, Indian politics had a history of popular struggles. JP and many other opposition leaders felt that in a democracy, people had the right to publicly protest. Now here JP and other opposition leaders who were protesting against the Indira Gandhi government, they all said that it is a healthy practice in a democracy when there are public protests against the government. If something is going wrong, people have the right to have the public protest or agitations. The Bihar and Gujarat agitations, they said, if we talk about Bihar and Gujarat agitation, which we have studied in this chapter already, were mostly peaceful and non-violent. Okay, so they were peaceful and non-violent. So those who were arrested were never tried of any anti-national activities, who were detained and put into jails. They were not doing any anti-national activities, but still they were put into the jail under emergency. No cases were registered against most of the detainees. Whoever were put into the jail, there was no cases registered in a written form. The Home Ministry, which is entrusted with the responsibility of monitoring the internal situation, it is the responsibility of the Home Ministry to look into the monitoring of the internal situations of the country. What are the circumstances of the internal of our country, but there was no response and no effort put by the Home Ministry into this matter. Also did not express any concern. In fact, Home Ministry did not express any concern about the law and order situation in the country. They were quiet and silent. If some agitations had overstepped their limits, the government, if still there was some protest which government thought they were overdoing or they were violating some rules of the constitution or were going against the government had enough routine powers to deal with it. There were many other ways which the government had those powers to deal with such situations. It was not important for such protests to have emergency in the country. There was no need to suspend the democratic functioning and use draconian measures like emergency for that. The threat was not to unity and integrity of the country but to the ruling party. So here the critics are saying our country did not had any danger of division or unrest. In fact, the Prime Minister and the Congress party feared this protest by the people. The critics say that Indira Gandhi misused the constitutional provision meant for saving the country to save her personal power. So the Indira Gandhi misused the constitutional provisions. Whatever the powers were given to the Prime Minister, she used all those powers and misused the power just to protect, just not to protect the country, but to protect her personal power. As she knew that all the people who were protesting were not protesting against the country or against the government. They were against the policies of Indira Gandhi and against the policies of Congress. So she knew it very well. So she used the powers or misused the powers of the constitution which has been given to her. So these are the point of views of the critics of the emergency. Okay. So we have done the topic that was the emergency necessary. So we have seen both the side critics and the supporters of emergency. So we have seen both the point of views and we have studied about Shah Commission. Okay. So now the next thing, as a part of controversies, we are studying about controversies which are in relations to period of emergency. Next is what happened during emergency. Okay. The actual implementation of emergency is another contentious issue. Did the government misuse its emergency power? Okay, there was implementation or imposition of emergency. That's a different part, because in the constitution it is the power given to the government. Okay, that is fine. But did the government misuse its emergency power? The question here arises, okay, government has the power to impose emergency, but if it is valid, if it is required, but was required here? Did government misuse its power of emergency? Were there excesses? Did government do excess and abuse of authority, misuse of its authority? These are the questions. The government said that it wanted to use an emergency to bring law and order. So the government has given a statement that it had imposed this emergency just to control and bring law and order under control, restore efficiency as there was so much of unrest in the country, internal disturbance, and above all implement the pro-poor welfare programs. And in fact they said they wanted to implement pro-poor welfare program where the opposition parties were interfering a lot and were not allowing the government to work according to its policies. So these are the reasons given by the government to impose emergency. So was it required or not? For this purpose, the government led by Indira Gandhi announced a 20-point program. So, for this purpose, the government now, after emergency or during emergency, has announced a 20-point program to declare its determination to implement this program. The 20-point program included. So, if we see what were the important 20 points program: land reforms, land redistribution, review of agricultural wages, workers' participation in management, eradication of bonded labor or poverty, etc. These were some of the important points if you see that list of 20 points program put forward by Indira Gandhi government. Okay, so these were the points which were given by the Indira Gandhi government. Okay, in the initial months, after the declaration of emergency, after emergency was declared in the beginning few months, the urban middle classes were generally happy. If you talk about the urban people living in the urban areas and the middle class people, they were generally happy over the fact that agitations came to an end. Now they were happy that there were no more protests and they could live a life which they wanted. So they were happy if you talk about the middle class people. And discipline was enforced on the government employees, and also they were happy that discipline was maintained and enforced on the government employees. The poor and the rural people also expected effective implementation of the welfare program. Now poor people and the rural people living in the village areas or the backward areas, those people were now expecting that there will be a proper implementation of the welfare programs or the 12 points which I have 20 points program which has been declared by government. Now they were or the government had promised that there will be a development program, so people were expecting that from the government. Thus different section of the society had different expectations from the emergency and also different viewpoints about it. So during the emergency, different section of the society had different aspects, expectations, different viewpoints regarding emergency. Okay. So critics of emergency, again talking about the people who were criticizing this period of emergency. So critics of emergency point out that most of these promises by government remained unfulfilled. So we are talking about 20 points development programs, though those were unfulfilled. They promised but nothing had happened there. That these were simply meant to divert attention of the excess that were taking place. So they are saying government had just taken out this program, this list of development programs just to divert the mind of the people. Okay, they question the use of preventive detention. Now the critics also question that there was a lot of use of preventive detention on such a large scale during emergency. And preventive detention, you already know, people are put into jail as before they are expected that they may cause or create some problem in the country. So in a beforehand they are being arrested on such a large scale. In emergency, many people were arrested on Preventive Detention Act. We have noted that many prominent political leaders were arrested. Many big political leaders were arrested in the period of emergency. In all, 676 oppositions were arrested. The Shah Commission, according to the report of Shah Commission, estimated that nearly 1,11,000 people were arrested under preventive detention law. So the report given by the Shah Commission, they have told 1,11,000 people were arrested under this policy of preventive detention laws. Severe restrictions were put on the press. There were a lot of restrictions put on the press, sometime without proper, and there was no legal sanctions or legal document given to those press. The Shah Commission report. Now another report given by Shah Commission, in their report, another point is Shah Commission report mentioned that General Manager of the Delhi Power Supply Corporation received verbal order, not a written order. He received a verbal order from the office of the Governor of Delhi. This general manager of Delhi Power Supply Corporation received a message which was verbal, not written, to cut electricity in all newspaper press at 2 a.m. So at 2 a.m. when emergency was declared on 25 and 26 midnight, so this order was given by the governor of the Delhi to cut electricity of all the newspaper press at 2 a.m. and 26 June morning. Okay. 1975 electricity was again restored to the after 2-3 days after censorship apparatus has been set up. So after this system of censorship was in place, after that the electricity was given back to the different newspaper press. Okay, and you know about this censorship. As we are talking about the critics of emergency, so now next point which they have put forward is there were other and more serious allegations. Now there were more serious allegations regarding the exercise of governmental power. Now government was misusing its power. The other allegations are by people who held no official position. There were few people who held no official position, but still they were very active in the period of emergency. For example, Sanjay Gandhi, the Prime Minister's younger son. Indira Gandhi's younger son, Sanjay Gandhi, he was involved in the administration, although he did not hold any official position. He did not hold any official position at the time, yet he gained control over the administration and illegally interfered in the functioning of the government. He was illegally interfering in the functioning of the government. His role in the he had a great role in the demoralization and forced sterilization. You should know about this word sterilization. It is related to the male reproduction system, where this process was carried out. This procedure was carried out to control the population in India. This is basically related to male reproduction. Okay, so this was a system which was forced sterilization in Delhi became very controversial. So when we talk about demoralization and forced sterilization in Delhi, this factor became more controversial. Apart from the arrest of political workers and restrictions on the press, if we talk about, we have seen there were many political workers and political leaders who were arrested, and there were restrictions put on the press. But apart from there, the emergency directly affected lives of common people in many cases. If you talk about the life of common people, there were a lot of changes in the life. There were a lot of torture, custodial deaths when people were arrested. There were a lot of death in the jails occurred during the emergency because of the torture. Arbitrary regulation of poor people, okay, also took place, and over enthusiasm about population control. As I have already told, the process of sterilization to control the population control, forceful sterilization was carried out under the supervision of Sanjay Gandhi, led to cases of compulsory sterilization. These instances show what happened when the normal democratic process is suspended. So these instances which we are seeing, that there were political leaders arrested, no one was allowed to speak or show their consent, they were tortured, custodial deaths, poor were facing so many problems. So all these will happen when their normal democratic process is suspended. If there will be no democracy, people will face such type of dictatorship, we can say. Okay, so because of this we can understand the meaning and importance of democracy in our country. So this is enough for the day. From the next video we'll move forward. Okay, till then, thank you, take care.